Hey guys, it's Lydia here from LA 3D Printing, and today I'm going to be talking about the TronXY X1 3D printer and all its upgrades. So, let's get started. Alright guys, so I just want to start off saying that I did not purchase this printer. I actually won it in GeoDroid John's giveaway on his YouTube channel for, I believe, 2,000 subscribers. I think it was 2,000. But I luckily won with his drawing, and since then I really haven't done much on this printer, except for maybe in the past 2 weeks I have started upgrading it because I actually want to use it now. I just want to start off saying that this is a very nice printer once you actually get it up and working and get lots of new upgrades on it, because I have been having some trouble with it. But once I actually put some effort into it, it's been printing pretty nice now. It is a DIY printer, so it took about, for me, I think it took about 3 weeks to build, but that's definitely not how long it would take you if you built it in one day. I just took 3 weeks because I was gonna make a build video, and I took all that time on filming and stuff, but I never did that. So it's actually a really fast build once you get into it. So as you can see, I have lots of pink upgrades here. You guys know I did a review on Kodak's PLA Plus filament, and I said that I was having some trouble printing with that, but I finally got it to work, and I actually printed this huge base on my TiVo Tornado, and then all these fan ducts and end stops and belt tensioners. But overall, I've actually had some struggle with starting to print this. But again, that was all my fault. I had a bad nozzle, and I'll put some videos in and some pictures down below of what it looked like when I had my bad nozzle, and that's usually what it doesn't look like out of the box. And with the original nozzle, I put in, I think, a 6.6 millimeter nozzle because I was trying to print with wood PLA on this, and that did not go so well either. I'll put another picture of that. But I rewired everything actually, and the wiring looks really nice. I did that yesterday, and I'm gonna take off the top, take the printer off, and there's a lid, and I'll show you guys what the control board looks like. It's pretty simple control board and everything, but there's some upgrades, and I'll talk about those more in a little bit, but I'll show you guys what the overall printer looks like. Alright, so I'm just going to take this off, and it actually comes off just like that. So this base here is two separate parts. One part is this lid, and then the main part is obviously the box. So basically right here there are 4 holes to hold in the LCD screen, which is really nice. And then this is just what the board looks like. It's just a simple board. I'm not really sure what the name of this type of board is, but you just have all your plugins, all the stepper motors, end stops, and there's fan plugins down here. And then if you print this base, the one that I printed did not have a cutout for the SD card and the USB plugins, so I just had to break just these 2 pillars that were here, and that made it work. And then again, here is the front screen. It's just overall a very nice base, and I really am glad I did that and printed it. There's the power port here, and then you can put a fan in here so you can cool down your electronics. So if you guys purchased this printer, it was, I believe, like $120. It is a super cheap printer, and actually is pretty good for its price. This is definitely a beginner printer. It is not the biggest. So one thing you can change on these DIY printers is the rails. So if you actually wanted a bigger printer, all you'd have to do is get some longer rails for each side, the X, Y, and Z, and then the bed. So this bed is not heated, and that's totally fine. It just minimizes you to PLA and TPU and maybe some PETG filament. But it's not heated, so then it's just an acrylic bed base. So what you could do if you want to build this printer a lot bigger is you just have to print another bed or get some acrylic and cut a bed out for you, and just like that you have a larger printer. So the print size for this printer is 150 by 150 by 150 millimeters, and that's pretty decent for the price. It is very small compared to my TiVo Tornado but it is like the same size as the TiVo Michelangelo, which is, it's okay for, again, its price, but you can definitely upgrade it if you really wanted to. Now the bed build service, as you can see, I have this kind of build tack like stuff on there. That does not come with this printer. This printer comes with this sheet of flexible plastic, which works, but doesn't work the best for me because some of my prints decide to pop off. So this build tack surface is more of a sheet of like blue tape, but it's obviously black. It came from Robo, but you can use blue tape on here. You can put your own build tack surface on here, or just use some really good glue stick and use that on the bed. Now, as you can see, this is not clipped on like it shows in the pictures. So it comes with these binder clips, and you can clip on your plastic sheet. But I decided to just use some adhesive and put that directly on here. And the adhesive lets it come off sometimes, but I really didn't like the surface, so I wasn't just going to take it off so that you could bend it and have the print pop off. Now that is not the best idea, but if you guys want to still use that, just use the binder clips to clip on there so that when your print is done, you can just take it off and bend the sheet and it'll pop right off, which makes it super easy to get your print off instead of just prying at it with a scraper. So let's talk about the belt tensioners. So these belts are actually kind of hard to tighten and actually kind of hard to feed through and hook to the bed and to the Z or the X cartridge here, because they are kind of lined in this wire, so they're super tough. And one thing I really decided to do, because when you put your belts on, is you can't really get them super tight, so they're really loose. And what you do is you just print these simple little brackets. Here's one. I printed this in, again, the pink PLA Plus. And then GeoDroid John actually sent me some of his upgrades, and this is one that he printed. So with these, well, the blue one, you just twist it and it'll tighten the belt, and then this one, you just pull it closer out and it tightens belts pretty tight, and that's what you want, is you want tight belts. And then another upgrade is this fan duct. So I was actually having quite a lot of trouble with this fan duct because I don't really know, the screws were weird, and I actually ended up burning my foot with my heat gun, which is a long story. With the fan duct, is you really want a fan duct when you 3D print, because the PLA, especially when you print with PLA, you really need a fan duct because it cools it faster and it doesn't make it look like a crappy print. So this fan duct actually uses basically, as you can see, two for 40mm fans, and this one is just the original. So the actual metal cartridge that's on here, you take it off and then you print this separate part that holds the main fan, and then the fan duct actually screws onto the fan in there. I'll show you again a close-up, and it just is a lot better. So I did order a separate fan that plugs into the fan port on this printer in the board control box. So there's actually two spots. The main fan is this, and then the cooling fan, there's two plugins. But I actually didn't want to wait, and I found this extra fan from my old TiVo Tarantula, and it was just a shorter cord. So what I did was I cut the main cord to this fan, and to the board I cut it, and then I soldered the cooling fan to it. And instead of just leaving it in the cooling spot, I plugged it into the cooling fan plug-in in the board, and it just turns on to I think 50% I set it at, just so it has enough to power both of these, but not too powerful to cool the print too much. And it's been working, but I do recommend just having two separate fans. But if you do not have another cord or another plug-in that plugs into the bed, because you do need a specific plug-in, then you can just do what I did and wire them together. And it's been working pretty great, and as you can see, the prints have been sticking. I did a little benchy boat, and I will show you guys those. And another must-have print would be this spool holder, and this I actually printed, I believe it was on my TiVo Tornado, but you can make it a smaller print, or I think you just print it separately on this printer if you really needed to, if this was the only one you had. So it's actually, it has this base, as you can see here, and then the part sticking out screws into it, which is very nice because then you could just print them separately on this printer. And that just holds the spool up here so that the filament can go straight in to the extruder. And again, I did all this wiring, rewired everything, and just covered it in black so it looked a lot nicer. The only bad thing I don't like about this base is you have to have it sideways like this, and you can't really see your print face on. But there are other bases that have the screen out in the front, which is really nice. I do like that. But again, if you do not have a big TiVo Tornado or a CR10 or a huge printer like I do for printing this base in one, there is someone on Thingiverse who designed a base that you can print on this printer. It just clicks into each other. It's kind of like a puzzle, and it has all the pieces in the bottom. And I really think that's a smart design for people who don't have bigger printers and just have this. So the last upgrade I did do, just because I do have this new fan duct on here, is just this new end stop holder. So it just lifts it up a little bit so that it doesn't hit anything, and it just hits the top bracket now instead of the bottom of it. So there's actually a couple more I did forget to talk about that are super important for building this printer. Is the little helpers for the Z bracket and then the bed bracket. So as you can kind of see here, there's yellow, and those are two pieces that make the wheel actually stick and roll nicely on the Z part here. And that is because when you build your printer, it's like really loose, and there's just a lot. It's very frustrating, and I didn't know what to do. So I actually went on the TronXY X1 group on Facebook, which I will link in the description below if you guys want to join that if you have this printer. It helps out a lot. And so you just print these two bracket parts, and you put them on, and then the Z is stabilized now. And then usually the bed is super wobbly, and it's basically not printable on. So then there's this other piece, kind of like the other one. I'll put a picture right over here for you. And you just tighten a screw, and then it basically brings the wheels closer together so that they're very tight on the rail down here. So that is all the upgrades for you. So I'm just going to show you guys a couple prints and maybe a little time lapse. Not sure if I'm going to be putting a time lapse in here. You'll know right after this clip. But just show you how good this printer works after all the upgrades. But again, if you cannot do these upgrades, just try your best to get the printer working and then do the upgrades on this printer if you do not have another one. So let's hop over to some prints. Alrighty guys, so I really hope you enjoyed those little short time lapses. I had to throw something in there for you. Sorry if you can hear my printers in the background. I do not have my mic on right now. It's getting fixed, but as you can see, I printed a couple prints back here. I printed some prints that were movable, and definitely printed this very high detail Moon City print, which turned out very nice, and printed some prints that fit together. This is one of the cube things. As you can see, there's a huge one back there. This is a mini version. I printed some movable ones and just some simple prints. I just want to let you guys know that this printer is so quiet. I didn't want to forget to tell you that. If I walked in my workroom in here, I wouldn't even know it's on. It's super quiet, which that is one plus about this printer. Most DIY printers aren't very quiet, but this one definitely is. But one thing I did want to let you guys know is this printer definitely prints way better than you would expect it to at $120. It is a super nice printer. Again, it is super quiet, and with those simple upgrades, it definitely shows on the prints that are upgraded. So one thing I did do before I actually started printing this last print, which is another Moon City, is I changed the E-steps in it, so I calibrated the extruder because it was a little bit of under extrusion on this Moon City, which you can definitely see. So I printed a cube to test that, and yeah, so the cube turned out really nice after I fixed that. And if you guys want to know how to calibrate your E-steps, let me know in the comments below. I will definitely make a video on that because I did that on all my printers to get them all fixed up and everything. So I just want to show you guys up close what all these prints look like, so let's go right over to that. Alright, so starting off, I want to show you guys what the benchy look like, the new benchy. This isn't the original 3D benchy that you usually print, but this is what it looked like with my crappy nozzle, and I wasn't really happy with this print, so I tried to figure out a whole bunch of different things, and then I decided to change the nozzle. And when I changed the nozzle, this is what I got, this nice beautiful print, which is what your print should look like when you use the hot end nozzle that comes with this printer. I just changed it out. There was a little bit of stringing area kind of right here, and I just have to do this, the retraction settings a little more. There's a little beading over there, but overall this is a pretty nice print. There is some ghosting, or some people call it moi, right here, as you can see those lines, but that wasn't a big deal to me. You can kind of see the bend here, not the whole thing came out, but it did great up here on the cylinder with the cooling fan that I just put on, and I think this benchy turned out pretty good. So the next print was all three of these little pieces that go in this cube that were in the time lapses. Let me see if I can take them apart. There we go. So I took them apart, and to put them together, you kind of have to slide them in a certain orientation. But once they're together, I also printed this little holder for it, and it would go like this. It would just sit in there, but I gotta put it back together. And that turned out pretty good. The overhangs actually did really nice. Under here, there's an overhang that didn't have any support on it, and that did really good as well. So this is the movable little slug snail thing. It did pretty nice. There was a little bit of under extrusion, as you can see here. That is one reason why I fixed it, because some of these prints weren't turning out the best. The layer adhesion did great on my my build tack slash painter's tape build surface, but overall this did pretty good. Even with the small little pieces here, they didn't lift, no warping, and it looks pretty nice. So before we go over to the Moon City, I just want to show you guys, this is the test cube I printed. The bottom right here wasn't the best because I didn't have it level, but as you can see, there's completely solid top layer, and that is after setting the E-steps on the extruder, which is really nice. And again, there are those little lines, and I'm not really sure why I'm getting those. If you guys know or have any tips for me to get rid of those, down in the comments, please let me know. So here is the Moon City. Now this turned out really amazing. I did not expect this printer to print this very nice. The bottom layer did great. There was no support, and these overhangs around here on the sides did awesome. The outside layers has a cool little texture to it. I really like the craters here. It looks really awesome. There was also an overhang up here, and that turned out great as well. Way better than I expected it to. And so look at all of these details. As you can see, kind of right up here and over there, and on some of these pillars there was a little bit of under extrusion, and again, that's the main reason why I changed it, because I really want this detail to come out in these prints. But overall, this looks really amazing. I really like this, and I believe this is able to turn into a light. You just put a little light down here and it shines through this, which I might actually do. I really do like how this turned out, and I'm very surprised on the detail that came out of this print. Alrighty guys, so that is it for today's video on my TronXY X1 DIY 3D printer. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I actually do really recommend going out and getting this printer if it is going to be your first 3D printer. Again, it is very small, but you can definitely upgrade it once you get more into 3D printing, which I might plan on doing in the future. So all these prints turned out great, and the detail again was amazing on this Moon City, and definitely shows what you get for the price, but a little bit more than I expected. Again, I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to hit that like button down below and subscribe to my channel. We are almost to 2,000 subscribers, and I'm really excited to do that. Again, I might do a little giveaway for Fusion 360 because I use that a lot. Don't forget to get all these upgrades. If you do plan on getting this printer, I will leave in the description below a link to all of the upgrades I did, and to the Moon City and some of the other prints I printed. So I hope to see you guys in the next video, and see you later. Bye.